It's week 33 of the golfing calendar, and the Olympics are run and won. Well done, Lydia Ko. This is the most listened to Australian golf podcast, Talk Birdie to Me. And we'd love it if you support our partners. Ping, you know they will help you play your best. There's a reason why so many tour pros will only use Ping. You can see your local golf shop or professional and arrange a Ping club fitting. The new Watch My Numbers app is fantastic. It's the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. And if you haven't heard our bonus pod with Frank, the designer of Watch My Numbers, go and check it out in the feed. And the Golf Clearance Outlet. They're in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. And if you haven't yet joined their membership club, GCO Live, check it out. Great specials, fantastic prizes every month. Now, former world number one Nick O'Hearn and former tour pro Mark Allen. This is Talk Birdie to Me.
Let's go.
He's pressed it. It's on.
Jeez, baby. Are we away?
Well, we've been going for the last 5 seconds waiting for you.
I know this is a Ping-sponsored program, but my God, am I loving golf at the moment. I am loving golf.
I'll bet you are.
I'm loving golf at the moment. I'm loving playing. We've had some decent weather down in Victoria. But my new woods, the GTs, my God, isn't it funny? You know,
I heard they came out, yeah.
Yeah. You know when you get a new pair of runners, guess what you do?
Well, I got a new pair of FootJoys the other day, by the way. I was down there.
And?
Oh,
what'd you get?
Well, I got a couple of, I like the casual style.
Yeah.
You know that casual, sort of like the contour casual style. But I also got some more, it's called the Traditions.
Yes,
but
beautiful.
It's in a soft spike.
Yeah,
so,
beautiful.
well, no spike sole.
It's what all the senior tour guys are wearing.
Yeah, I love it. Looks really good too.
Well, it's just like I'm saying, when you get a new pair of runners, guess what you do? You go to the gym, you go for a run, you go for walks. It's when you get new golf clubs. Isn't it amazing how you just want to get to the golf course as much as you can? Like, I just can't get over it. I'm like a little kid. I'm 55 years old. And yet, and I've had thousands of golf clubs in my day, and I still get a rise out of something new in my golf bag. It's just unreal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I'm right there with you. Every time I get a new club in the bag, new putter, new driver, whatever it is, in the Ping range, it's brilliant.
Yes, and I have organised somebody from overseas, high tech, in the Titleist work van to come and talk to us about the new GT. Right. So we'll get a bonus pod out at some stage.
Sounds great.
So we're looking forward to that. Chi-Chi Rodríguez.
It was a sad loss.
I know. He's 80-something. What is it, 88?
88, Puerto Rican.
How good was it watching all the tributes with all the old footage of him sword fighting his way to victory and even sometimes sword fighting his way just to another birdie in the Seniors Tour? It's so good.
Do you know why he did that?
Tell me why.
Okay, so I did a little bit of research on this just to have a bit of a look. Obviously, I love watching the guy play. On the Champions Tour, I never got to see him play on the PGA Tour before our time. 30 wins, by the way, on both the PGA Tour and Champions Tour. Incredible.
A star.
Yeah. So what he used to do, he said as a kid, he used to play for a bit of money with his buddies.
Right.
And he holed a putt one day, and they're playing for like 2 cents or whatever it was. The ball went in, so he'd won the money, but apparently there was a toad in the hole, and the toad popped out and knocked the ball out of the hole.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So he didn't win the money.
Oh, they didn't count it.
They didn't count it.
Mongrels.
So what he started doing was, when he was a kid and then out on tour later on, was whenever he'd hole a putt, he'd grab the hat and throw it over the hole. Do you remember that? Where he'd throw it over the hole. Yep. And he did that because he didn't want the little birdies to get away, right? Now the other pros didn't like that.
Right.
Because they felt he was dancing around the hole doing stuff. So he said, well, I have to come up with something else. And that's when he came up with the sword fighting.
Well, I'm glad you've done some research. I had no idea.
I know, neither did I.
How about when he does the whole sword fight and then to finish it, he gets the
handkerchief
and wipes the sword.
Wipes the blood off.
Oh, it's just so beautiful. It is just, I mean, honestly. And I think he made wearing something other than a visor or a hat really fashionable.
Was it
on
the
the
Panama?
golf course.
Remember we spoke about the hats.
He looked so good in that thing.
Is it a Panama hat? I think it was.
It was a Panama hat.
Some sort of a straw Panama.
Different styles of a Panama hat.
Fedora.
Yes.
The fedora.
He looked magnificent, this man.
He did.
In purple pants. It didn't matter what he was wearing or what he was doing. And homemade golf swing. And if you ever saw, I'll find it actually, and we'll put it on our socials. If you ever saw don't forget his backswing because it looks weird. But if you ever saw the sequence from hip high to hip high down to through the ball to hip high at the other end, it is perfect.
Yeah. Well, it
is super duper perfect.
All the top pros, that's from hip high to hip high. But he always said one of his greatest achievement was creating the Chi-Chi Rodríguez Youth Foundation in Clearwater, Florida.
Right.
And during his Hall of Fame speech, because he made the World Golf Hall of Fame, this guy, he said, "Man never stands taller than when he stoops to help a child."
Oh, wow.
Isn't that a great line?
Isn't that
I love that line.
fantastic?
So, but he said that's his greatest achievement was his charity foundation.
Well, rest in peace. Like they said in WKRP in Cincinnati, what a great show that was.
Great show.
The newsreader used to always read out his name, Chi-Chi Rodríguez, for a bit of fun.
I love it.
But good luck to you, Chi-Chi. You were a superstar, and we admired you greatly. Now, golf in the Olympics.
I know you don't like it.
Well, I think it's here to stay.
But what a great win that was by Lydia Ko, by the way.
Amazing. Incredible.
She's completed the set because she had a bronze, a silver in Rio and Tokyo.
And Hannah missed by one shot for a bronze medal playoff.
Would have been a big playoff. Would have been 5 players for the bronze, which is always fascinating to watch.
I don't know. If she birdied it, she would have been right.
If she'd have birdied it.
Because was gold, silver and bronze clean. And there was about, 4 players one shot back or 3 players one shot back?
Well, Jiu Lin birdied the last to get the bronze outright. So there was 5 of them tied as she was playing the last.
Yeah.
And she birdied it to get the bronze. Otherwise, it would have been a 5-for-1.
Yeah.
So.
I still found myself when I was flicking around, and I flicked for 2 weeks. I've been flicking on Channel 9 for 2 weeks.
It's out of control, isn't it?
And look, people know I work for Channel 9 Radio. Channel 9 did an incredible job.
They were great.
The job that they did covering the Olympics was magnificent.
I don't know about you guys, but how many times have you teared up over the last 2 weeks with these little vignettes they do?
Yep.
It's incredible.
A bit.
What do you reckon's the most teary moment you've seen? Which one for you guys?
For me, it would be Sakakibara.
Yeah, I'm the same.
One.
The BMX one.
With her brother. And they showed that, they did that 2-minute clip about it all, and you're bawling by the end of it.
Yeah, and how she fell in Tokyo 3 years earlier. And anyway, so I still found myself, if I was flicking around and watching sports that I only watch every 4 years, if the golf came on, I didn't watch for long.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's just not golf's time to shine. In saying that, you know what? We've got this wonderful amateur competition right around the world where amateurs play. And it's, even in tennis these days, you just tick the pro box and basically you can play for money.
Yeah.
Here you still have to go through to a tour school on most of the big tours. So there is a bit of a process. But it is a 2-tiered situation. And I want to ask you this. If it was the same format but amateur players,
yes,
would that be the biggest thing that you could do in amateur golf? Win a gold medal at the Olympics? And this is what you were saying last week. And I know you said it, but it's been said before that you want the sports that to be the pinnacle.
Yeah,
a gold medal. I think amateur golf, if a gold medal was on offer, I think that's the best thing you can do in amateur golf.
Dan, every so often Mark comes up with a really good idea, and it doesn't happen often.
Not often.
But I love that.
Yeah.
I think you're right. You're spot on. I think it would mean so much more to the amateurs than it would the pros, although watching the pros, it meant a lot to them. Yeah. I know Hannah Green was grinding to get that bronze.
Yeah. And surprisingly, the other one that's really amateur professional is boxing. And, Floyd Mayweather, we know about his Olympic career. Muhammad Ali, we know about his Olympic career.
Yeah.
I think if an amateur golfer, men and women, won the gold medal, that would follow them through their professional career. Sure. So I think there's merit. I would prefer it if it was amateurs playing at the Olympics.
Devil's advocate.
Yep.
And I like the idea, but devil's advocate, would it be slightly would it diminish the gold medal if Fred Nurk, amateur golfer, wins a gold medal, But everybody watching knows that Scheffler would have smashed him, Rory would have smashed him, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Right.
Does it diminish it slightly?
I'd put the same argument to the boxing. You know, we don't see the best boxers there, but we admire them for winning gold medals. And I think because we have this beautiful two-tiered level of golfer in the world, it just makes more sense to me that amateur players play in this format. If the professionals are going to continue to play, the format has to change because we see the same thing week in, week out.
Yeah, it needs to be more of a team event, a two-man team event or two-woman team event,
Something
or even
different.
a mixed
Well,
with an individual in there as well.
Well, I want to ask you, because I believe in the individual gold medalists
Yes.
as well. You have to have the champion golfer, men and women. So how would you do it?
I think you could easily have, well, depending on how many golds they want to give out, you could have the two individuals for the men and the women, the two teams for the men and the women there, and then you could also have a mixed. You might have a combined four, all up. I don't know. You could. It's endless, I guess. Like in swimming, you have all these different formats.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Someone put to me that the long driving championship should be in the Olympics.
No, I thought you were talking about the bunkers or something.
No, not bunkers.
Okay.
But the long driving, I'd watch that.
Oh, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
I would. If there was a gold medal attached to that, I'd watch it.
It's like the strongman event, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon the Paralympics should have if you're going to have golf in the normal Olympics.
So they don't have it?
No, there's no golf in the Paralympics.
Really?
It was rejected for Paris. It's been rejected for Los Angeles, and Brisbane hasn't made the call yet.
That surprises me because when you see the all abilities players, when some players both legs below their knees are gone, I think there possibly should have been an all abilities championship in the Olympics. I guess it's hard with the categories. I don't know. I would be guessing. As someone with missing just 1 foot, is that the same sort of skill level required when someone's missing both legs?
Well, they'd follow the same format that they do with all the other
swimming, for
tournaments.
example.
That's right. But how many? Would that mean there's 15 different categories? I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to have seen the all abilities golf.
Yeah. I mean, the European tour, they have what's called the G4D tour.
Yeah.
So golf for disability tour. So there's your category there, basically. And all those players, like our own, Lachlan Wood here in Australia, for example, and Kip Poppet and Brendan Lawler, all the really good players we've seen over these past few years, they'd be the ones representing the country.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway. I think that makes sense. Just on that, Dylan Alcott made wheelchair tennis. Is wheelchair tennis in the Olympics?
I don't know.
That's a good question as well.
Paris coming.
They have different categories in that as well. I know that. So
I imagine it is.
Wheelchair basketball, I know, is in there.
Yes,
and that's unbelievable to watch. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay. So I think they've missed a trick there. I think the all abilities golf is big right around the world. When it's played at the Australian Open, the countries represented are from all over the globe. I think they're crazy.
Last week, Mark, you did a top 5 on the most ludicrous sports in the Olympics.
Yes, I know.
And all sports that shouldn't be there. Yeah. One of the ones you talked about was breaking.
Breakdancing,
yes. And
right.
Have you changed your view in light of recent events?
No, I haven't.
What? You didn't like Raygun?
No, I don't think Raygun rolling around on the ground was anywhere near an Olympic sport. But I'm not mad at what, old Raygun. Good luck to her.
Somehow she qualified. And
how did she qualify? I don't know how she qualified.
I want to know as well.
Remember in 2000 we saw Eric the Eel. Okay, so he was from an Ecuadorian country.
Yeah.
So I don't think Australia's at that level. I mean, if we shouldn't be sending people who, aren't going to win a point.
18-0, 18-0, 18-0.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Not a point.
Didn't get a point.
I tried to watch a little bit of the highlights, but I had to turn away. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, by the way, one of the sports I said shouldn't be in the Olympics, we won 2 gold medals. Skateboarding.
Skateboarding,
we won 2 gold medals.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Well, maybe the trick section shouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
That's true.
That's the ones you said they couldn't
You
stand
sent something magnificent this morning to our WhatsApp group. Can you get that stats photo up? Now,
Yes.
we had Frank and Aidan in on our Watch My Numbers bonus pod last week.
It's in the feed. Go and have a listen. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. I loved you and I becoming stats gurus too with Aidan.
Well, trying to be.
I think we've helped him, by the way. I think he has to be more aggressive somewhere. He might as well be aggressive where you're
when you hit 87% of the fairways.
When you're a cross between Kelvin Pete and Fred Frunk,
that's
where you want to get more aggressive, Aiden. Anyway.
On a side note, how nice was Aiden?
Yeah, good boy.
What a good bloke.
He's a good boy.
Maybe too nice.
Yeah,
we need a bit of mongrel in you out there.
We need to belt him a couple of times and get him going.
Okay, I've got this up. This was actually, funnily enough, posted by our good friends from Australian Golf Digest, who we spoke to a while back about golf course rankings. Now, the average...
it's a wonderful magazine.
It is.
Don't have a look at their golf course rankings, though. They're a little bit skew-if, but the magazine is magnificent.
It is. All right, this is to do with the average tour pro in 2024 and their stats. So
these aren't the guys that are winning.
This is the average tour pro, the averages for all players on the PGA Tour this season. So driving distance 298.9 yards, almost 300 yards off the tee. That sounds about right for me. I mean, that's basically how far players are doing. Now, if you go back 30 years, it's about 275-ish, something like that. So
I remember Dan Pohl.
Technology.
The first time I saw the stats and took notice of them, Dan Pohl, who was an ex-baseball player, he was leading with 276 yards.
That's right. Yeah.
He was leading the stat with 276
Well, John
yards.
Daly was the first guy to break the 300-yard marker sometime in the 90s, early 90s.
And I think he
led.
He still holds the record for the biggest lead over number 2.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Which was about 15 yards, the way I remember it.
Driving accuracy, 60%. Aiden's got that by almost 30%. Well done, Aiden.
Yeah, you've nailed that.
Here's an interesting one, which may surprise people. Sand saves, almost 54%.
See, it's just not... I would have thought your average tour pro on the US Tour would be at least 2 out of 3, 66% at least.
The players you're watching are obviously playing really well, but then there's some players get bad lies, the pins are tucked. You're seeing some shots that are very, very difficult.
How often did you get a bad lie to bunker on the US Tour, Dick?
A few times.
Plug lies, maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, just on that, what's the percentage again for the best players in the world getting up and down from a trap?
The best players?
Yeah.
Well, this is the average for the tour players. It's 53.8%.
So the best players that we have, basically, I'm sure there'd be a few extras from Europe and a few extras from Japan who probably should slip in there, but basically the best players going around, they only average 50%.
Just over half.
Just over half.
Yeah.
There are golf clubs out there who think bunkers are too easy, and they claim that one of the reasons they leave the bunkers in the state that they are is because it's too easy.
Right.
So here you go. All these guys would be playing off +7 or +8, and they only get up and down once out of every 2 times they're in a bunker.
Incredible.
And we've got committees in this country who suggest we need to make bunkers harder. They're off their heads, Nick. We've got to have beautiful rakes. We've got to put the rakes in the right place. We've got to have the rake bonus podcast.
We're not having a rake podcast.
Okay, I'm going to just put it out there now. The best rakes I have seen playing locally are at the Metropolitan Golf Club.
So they're the green handle with the big black oval shape.
And it's something to do with the balance and the weight.
Right.
They are incredible. Okay. And it almost rakes themselves. So every club out there, go and play there if you can and check out their rakes.
Augusta uses those rakes.
Do they?
Yes, they do. My favourite rake, this is kind of going into the space.
We've gone down the rabbit hole, Dan.
My favourite rake are the ones they have at Royal Melbourne and Cypress Point. It's the wooden one and there's a split at the top.
Yeah, I know that one.
And you can push the sand and drag the sand, and I just love them. But the other thing, Nick, this is the most important thing. When you don't leave them in the bunker and you leave them on the tongue in the browner grass, they almost disappear. They're like camouflaged out of your sight. So it just looks beautiful. Anyway.
All right, let's get back to these stats. Okay, scoring average 71.1. A little probably higher than I would have thought, but that looks about right for the average.
That's interesting because most cuts are about 2 or 3 under these days.
Yeah. Money earned, $1.7 million. That's not bad for the average tour player.
Standard.
Pretty good.
You'd know better than me. If you make $1.7 million in tour earnings, what sort of bonuses would you be expected for your average tour player to kick in as well?
Gosh, I don't know. Well, bonuses are more on, it depends on where you finish on the FedEx Cup.
Yeah.
That they have bonuses kicking in there.
Sponsor bonuses if you've got a half-decent manager.
Yeah, for top threes, top tens, things like that.
Things like that. So
who knows?
An extra 500,000 maybe?
If you got a really good manager, yeah.
Okay. An extra 3 if you've got an average manager?
Oh, yeah. Couple of hundred, I don't know. I mean, don't look at me, mate. It's been a long time since I've been out of it.
What sort of bonuses would you get if you win 1.7?
I had a lot of top tens.
Yeah, okay.
Nick, so if the average golfer is getting about 1.7 mil, what sort of costs will they have annually that they would have to pay out of that 1.7?
Out of that 1.7. So you got caddies, you got travel, you got coaches, trainers, hotels,
lives,
you
kids.
name it. Yeah.
So what are you talking, 500?
Golf expenses, probably somewhere towards that. Yeah.
Okay.
10,000 US a week? 30 weeks a year?
Basically.
Yeah. 10,000 US a week, 30 weeks a year,
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple more stats to finish. Birdies, 3.7 per round. And this one, which was fascinating, Mark, for me, putting inside 10 feet. So that includes your 1-footers, 2-footers, 3, 4, all the way up to 10 feet, 88%.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So I saw that and I immediately went to Dr. Google and looked it up. So now this is back from 2019, so I don't think too much has changed.
No, probably
since 2019. So PGA Tour percentage, so this is the average for 3-footers made, 3 foot and in.
Yep, probably 98, 99.
99.4%.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Rarely missed. I think Tiger might have missed 2 in a 10-year period there at one stage.
Yeah. Rory might have
from 3 foot.
That stat at the US Open.
Okay, so we just drift 1 foot further out, and it goes from 99.4 to 91.4.
Okay,
so you lose 8%.
Yeah.
From 4 feet, we get to 5 feet, and we now drift 11%. So the 5 foot average is 80.7.
Okay.
Then we drift to 6 feet, and we lose another 10%.
Okay.
So 6 feet is
70%.
21. So
that's pretty good.
7 out of 10 you're still a star.
Still really good.
You're still really, really good. Then it's another 10%. So every foot from 4 feet is a 10% difference. 7 feet goes to 60, 8% goes to 52, 9% goes to 46, 10% goes to 10 feet goes to 41.
There you go. 40% basically from 10 feet.
So this is really important.
It is.
Because you and I would say 80% of our masterclasses are to do with chipping or getting up and down, your defense around the golf course. And what I noticed when I went over there and played college golf was that they weren't all brilliant chippers. They weren't all Seve Ballesteros and chipped it to 2 foot all the time or 1 foot all the time. They just didn't chip it to 8 feet.
Yeah.
You know, they chipped it kind of 4 foot most of the time.
Yeah, 4 or 5, something like
4
that.
or 5 foot most of the time, and then you see that. Now, I remember seeing that, and also with the wedges. You know, you don't stiff all your wedges. No one can. But if you hit a high percentage of them within 6 feet, so let's say 20% of your wedges go within 6 feet, you're going to have
you're one of the best in the business.
You're going to have 2 6-footers. Yeah, that's right. Well, you would be.
Yeah.
You would be.
If you look up the wedge stats, which I'm not going to do right now, but
it's surprising.
It is surprising the proximity to hole for the leading player is usually around 20 feet.
Yeah, that's
something
right.
like that, with
that's
a wedge
right.
in their hand.
That's right.
Everyone thinks they knock it within 10 feet every time. It does not happen.
And a little bit of that is due to coming out of rough. A little bit, but not much.
Pin position has a lot to do with it.
Pin position has a hell of a lot to do with it.
Firmness of greens, things like that.
That's right. And they're tour positions, you know.
Yeah.
So pins that are just up on a tier and right next to a green.
They're always 3 from the edge,
Yeah, that's right. But it just shows you don't have to chip it. If you're a very good short putter, okay, you don't have to chip it to a foot all the time.
Yeah.
You can basically chip it to 6 foot and in.
Yeah,
you should be right.
One of the lines you used on the TV commentary, which I always enjoyed, was you get 2 opportunities to get it up and down.
That's
you can either chip it close and you just tap it in, or if you don't chip it close, you can hold a longer putt. Yeah.
So if you have that mindset, and I was lucky, I was taught that mindset a long time ago by Stephen Long. If you have that mindset, it takes pressure off the first shot. If you stand there over a chip and you know you've got 2 chances to get the thing up and down, then all of a sudden you're almost breathing again, particularly in a pressure situation.
You know, the interesting thing about those stats you're talking about, the average tour player stats, you could actually use the Watch My Numbers app to measure yourself against those guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is, I mean, a normie's not going to be that good, clearly, but you can still measure yourself a bit.
Yeah, you can. Yep.
What's Greg Chalmers' mate, who does all the stats? What's his name? I'll get him because he does. He's got a collection of stats, not tour pros, but standard players in America.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
That'd be fascinating.
Well, I think he might be our next.
What the 10 handicapper, 15 handicapper does? Yeah, that'd be
exactly.
great.
Well, American 10 handicappers
sure.
and American 20 handicappers. And
okay.
I think you'll find that everything from 4 foot, they make 100% of over there.
It's because they've never tried one.
A lot of gimmies.
A lot of gimmies.
A lot of gimmies in American golf.
Before we go to the turn, I've had an idea. You know this rake thing you keep banging on about?
Yes.
What if we do this? What if we do a little rake bonus pod at some point in time?
No.
And then put a poll up for our listeners to say, was that a rubbish pod or not? And I reckon most people are going,
you know what we should do? We should put a poll up first of should we do a rake bonus pod, okay?
That's a good idea.
That'll solve the problem.
Okay. Let's do that. We'll put that poll up.
I'm voting for yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's very important. And you know what? You know what we need to do? We need to invite committees who are pro bad rakes and left in the bunker. We need to have a debate. The great rake debate. We need to have it.
But you know what, Mark? We're at Sandy Links at Australian Golf Headquarters here, and I just saw the 9th green and the bunker needs raking. Go out there and do it at the halfway mark. See you on the 10th.
The Golf Clearance Outlet have golf's biggest brands for less. How about these for starters? TaylorMade, Titleist, FootJoy, Callaway, and plenty more. And we beat everyone's prices. You might even say we're making golf great again. We want to make sure you've got the right gear at the best prices so your game can be as good as it can be. With stores in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth, drop in, say g'day. Or you can shop online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au.
Thanks for listening to Talk Birdie to me, and if you're up for it, we'd love you to subscribe, rate and share the podcast wherever you listen. And thanks to our great partners who make the show possible, Ping, they'll help you play your best, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world, and the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Now, back to Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
You wouldn't believe how much bunker and rake talk was in our break, folks. You just would not believe it. And we are going full bottle.
Yeah. Actually,
on
now
the rake bonus pod.
Now I'm thinking it's on because I want to debate you on a few things that we were talking about. But first of all, I'll tell you possibly the worst rakes I ever came across was 1 year at Jack's tournament, the Memorial.
Oh, the big. He wanted to make them hard.
So he thought bunkers were too easy for the players.
That's right.
So he got these rakes in which had, what do they call them, tines on the rake? I think
huge tines.
And these things were almost 6 inches long. And it left these gigantic furrows. So when you did hit it in there, the ball, it was almost a semi-plug light every time you're in there.
That's right.
And the players, luckily I didn't hit it in too many bunkers, but whenever I did, I thought, well, I'm just splashing out sideways. And that's basically what he wanted to happen. He wanted to make them play like pot bunkers.
See, we should have shown Jack the data that says the best players in the world who all play off,
I'm talking fairway bunkers as well, by the way.
+7, +8, only get up and down 50% of the time.
No. It was it was a brutal week that week.
Wake up, Jack.
It was 1 year and one and done, basically.
Yeah. I remember Peter Thompson wanted to do it here as well. Peter Thompson wanted to make bunkers as hard as possible.
For sure, yeah.
Now, which one of you knuckleheads is doing the top 5 today?
Nicholas is
that
doing
would be
it.
me.
Top five.
And in honour of Lydia Ko's victory at the Olympics, the gold medal, I'm doing top 5 best New Zealand golfers of all time.
Ooh.
Jeez, there's going to be a few unlucky.
This could be interesting,
I'm going to send this to
I might get a couple of text messages from people.
Number 5,
anyway.
there'd be quite a few at number 5 that you would have had a choice.
It's interesting. If you'd gone back 3 years ago, you'd say, no way in heck is this guy in there, but he's forced his way in there for his performance on the Champions Tour. Steve Alker is my number 5.
And I reckon you've made the right choice.
He is just playing the golf of his life, and I think the last few years he's been the best over 50 golfer
in the world.
Yeah, in the world.
Yep.
Even better than Langer.
Yep. Well, he led the Order of Merit one year and came second the next.
I think so, yeah. And he's second at the moment.
Yeah.
And he almost won this week, by the way.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
That number 5. Number 4, this is where it could get controversial, but I'm going to give it to Frank Nobilo.
No controversy.
Frank Nobilo.
The pirate. Just sensational. He's got pirates in his heritage. Is that right? I think when you go back through his family tree.
Italian-Croatian descent, apparently.
That's right.
He does not have pirates
Croatian
in his heritage.
pirates.
You are making that up.
I'm not. He's got pirates in his family tree.
Yeah. But 14 tournament wins, one once on the PGA Tour, 5 times in Europe.
Can I tell you a Frank Nobilo story?
Please.
When he was playing on the European Tour, he had one of those wins and he went out and bought himself a Ferrari.
Okay.
Right? The big red banger, right? The best car of all time. And Frank was living in Bagshot.
Yeah.
Right. And, Bagshot, the homes are tiny.
They are.
You understand the shape of a Ferrari, right? They kind of narrow at the start and they get wider and wider and wider. He's just bringing the Ferrari home straight from, the floor of the Ferrari shop, turned into his driveway.
Oh, no.
And jagged the whole right-hand side of the car because he didn't realise it'd get wider and wider.
Oh, dear. Wow. Yeah.
Great story.
He was one heck of a beautiful golf swing too.
Yeah,
and one of the best commentators in the US as well.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think he's a star
very, very
commentator.
good.
Star.
And he also partnered Greg Turner at the 1998 President's Cup.
The less said about Greg Turner at the President's Cup, the better, Dick.
Sure, I know stories about that abound. But unfortunately for Greg, he didn't make the top 5. But Frank did. Well, there's 3 really good ones coming up. Number 3, Michael Campbell.
Had to
go past Cambo, the 2005 US Open champion.
Led a British Open too at St Andrews after 3 rounds. Didn't play so well. But
yes, he did actually.
Yeah, I think that was the
95.
Yep, that was John Daly and
Rocca. Constantino Rocca.
Yeah, that's right. How about that long putt he made from?
How about the chunked wedge before it? That was unbelievable. Yep. So he's my number 3. Number 2. Cambo was number 3.
Cambo number 3.
Number 2.
Lefty.
Could be, was one of the greatest left-handers of all time. Some say still is Sir Bob Charles.
Good on you, Bobby.
Yeah, won the British Open back in 1963. Had an amazing career. I was looking it up earlier. How many tournament wins do you think he had? Let's see.
On the European Tour?
Well, all time. But
I know he dominated. He won a lot on the Champions Tour.
Yes, he did.
I think he won more on the Champions Tour than he did in his regular career.
He also had a runner-up at the PGA Championship.
I didn't know that.
And he finished 3rd twice at the US Open.
I didn't know that.
I know. This is how good this guy was.
Wow.
It was incredible. But he's in the World Hall of Fame. 80 professional wins, 6 on the PGA Tour. So well done to Sir Bob. And number 1, our gold medalist, Lydia Ko. What a career she has had. Good buddy of mine, Dan Morrison, tweeted out the other day, if you think about it, if she continues to play on now, I don't know if she will, she could become one of the most capped Olympians of all time. Because in golf, you can play forever, basically. Every other sport, you get a limited time frame. She's already played in 3 Olympics.
I think she's come out and said she won't be playing in Los Angeles.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Okay.
But if you think about it, as a golfer, you could play for another 20 years. There's another 5 Olympics.
How old is she now? 30?
She's not that old.
Let
me have a quick look.
I want to say 29.
I remember she was winning stuff when she was 16.
27 years old.
She's only 27.
And you know what the gold medal got her? Into the LPGA Hall of Fame. She was missing that one elusive point to get in the Hall of Fame. So that's capped off an amazing career. 2 majors and 20 wins on the LPGA Tour.
To think David Ledbetter almost destroyed her career.
Yeah.
Can you remember what she was working on?
Oh, that A-frame swing? I don't know what it was.
Crazy across the line, halfway back. Craziness.
Yeah.
She's one of the few people that really made golf look simple.
Well, one of the things that I think saved her through the period was she has one of the best short games in the world, man or woman.
Well,
incredible.
Stay tuned for the masterclass.
Okay.
I copied her putting routine a long time ago. I didn't see her hit one shot at the Olympics, but I copied her putting routine from a long time ago, and that's my masterclass today. Okay. She's a star.
Good to know. All right, well, that's our top 5.
Now, we got an email this week from Fox in Ironsbury, and Fox has got a story that he would like to share.
Okay.
Why don't we give him a call?
His name is Fox.
Fox, yeah.
All right.
Hello.
What the Fox are you doing?
There you go, boys.
Hey, we're well.
Fox.
Now, you had a question for us, Fox.
No, just a quick story about a round I had at Hidden Valley about a month ago. It was pouring down rain, one of them typical Melbourne days.
Yeah.
We got through about 12 holes and almost called it quits, but I had a bit of a round going, so selfishly I wanted to keep going. And it was me, my old man, my brother-in-law, and one of my old man's mates, Peter.
Right.
Luckily for Peter, we kept going because he absolutely flushed an 8-iron on the 18th green for a hole-in-one.
Oh,
Wow.
Unbelievable. And the 18th green, for people who don't know about Hidden Valley.
Where is Hidden Valley?
Where is it, Fox? What's the suburb it's in?
In Wallen.
In Wallen. But the 18th hole, the par 3, it's an island green.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And from the tips, it's a pretty scary shot, isn't it, Fox?
It is a scary shot. Not for Peter. It was about his 130th shot for the day, but it was one to remember.
So he was 129 and walked off 130. Oh, I love those stories. And how wet were you blokes in the clubhouse celebrating afterwards? Were you dripping wet?
Dripping wet, but we got a few beers out of it, which was good.
Oh, I love those stories.
Can't beat a good hole-in-one.
Marco, it must be just you and me that think that Elvis joke is funny, because that's been my go-to joke for years.
Yes.
I called up your old station, SEN, one day and told it to Bob Murphy, I think it was, and
he
got
like
the
it?
same result as you.
Yeah.
No, same result. Crickets.
Fox, it's a great joke. They've banned me from telling jokes, Fox. Banned me.
With good reason.
My wife banned me from telling it as well.
well, you know what I think the takeaway that I've got here is that you are stealing jokes, Mark.
No, I didn't steal a joke off Fox. No way.
Well, but Fox has told the joke like years ago and you started banging out that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, no, jokes, just because I'm telling a joke, I'm stealing, I'm copying other people. I think jokes have been told for a while, Dan.
Fox might like that joke, but we had an email as well from Jeff, and Jeff said, sorry, Mark, your jokes are like a wedge shot that lands short and spins back off the green. Keep up the great work with the rest of the pod, though, but just not the jokes.
Okay, yeah, well, I've succumbed
you and Fox are the ones.
The feedback. Fox, keep telling jokes, mate, and keep playing some good golf. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
What a good
Fox.
man.
All right, the Ping Global results. First up, let's go to the Olympics, by the way, because Lydia Ko, outstanding performance at La Golf Nationale, had a 5-shot lead at one stage. It was incredible. Had only a 1-shot lead playing the last, but her wedge game knocked it to 7 feet, hold it for the birdie for a 2-shot win over Germany's Esther Heinzeleit, who got the silver, and the bronze went to China's Zhu Lin, who birdied the last to beat 4 others.
Just a side note, do you know how many gold medals New Zealand won? Only 5 million people over there. 10.
10?
What, 10 gold?
10 gold.
Ooh, so they get us on a per capita.
I think they get the whole world,
They
except
do.
for St. Lucia, which only has 180,000.
Oh, okay, right.
I think they got a gold and the
They got
silver
a gold, yes.
on per head of capita. But New Zealand, 10 gold medals, if you don't mind.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Incredible. Anyway, best of the Aussies. We had 2-player, had a green. What a fight back that was after day one. Opening 77, came back in 70, 66, 69. Had a real chance there too, but on the 10th hole, unfortunately, pulled the tee shot into the water and made double, but hung tough. Came home in 1 under from there to finish 1 spot out of the bronze medal. And Minjee Lee finishing in tie for 22nd. On the Asian Tour, I'm sort of going a little bit of roundabouts at the moment, but the Asian Tour, they had the International Series in London at Fox Hills. You ever been there, Mark?
Never.
No? It's in
good.
that Surrey area. Yeah, it's a good little course. I used to stay there when we played the Wentworth Championship because it was only about 10 minutes down the road from Wentworth.
Oh, wow.
And a very tight, short course. A couple of players I help are playing there in Jordan Zunic and Austin Truslow, and they said 6,700 yards, Nick, and very tight. You would have loved this place.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, yeah, I probably would have. But Peter Uihlein, who's normally a range goat or a goat ranger on the Live Tour, had a 7-shot win from England's Andy Sullivan and another Live player, Caleb Surratt, the American. Interesting week for Peter. He was 2 over through 8 holes in round 1, shot a 61 day 2 and ended up 20 under par to win by 7. So what that shows you is never, ever give up.
Oh.
That's for sure.
Hey, just quickly, the New Zealand total medal tally.
You're still going on, aren't you?
Well, it's just amazing. They won 10 gold,
Yeah.
including Lydia Ko,
I think a few of those were in rowing too.
7 silver,
Wow.
and 3 bronze.
20 medals. That's incredible.
Outstanding.
What did we end up as? We've got 50 or so, didn't we?
We got
18 gold.
I think.
18, 19 silver, 16 bronze.
Okay.
Came fourth.
Wow.
It's a
Incredible.
mighty effort too.
Anyway, best of the Australasians there with Travis Smythe tied for 30th, and New Zealand's Ben Campbell also tied for 30th. On the PGA Tour, they had the Wyndham Championships, the final event before the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it was quite a fascinating finish to this golf tournament. It was up and down all over the place. Max Grayson at one stage had a 4-shot lead after holding a wedge on the 13th for an eagle 2.
Yeah.
Take a 4-shot lead over
4
Aaron
shots.
Rai. Aaron Rai has been sort of playing really well this year. He's 5 top 10s, had a runner-up at the Rocket Mortgage, playing well. Grayson makes an eagle 2 on 13. On 14, hits it out of bounds and makes a quadruple 8.
Yep.
All of a sudden, his 4-shot lead is gone. He's tied for the lead with 4 to go. He birdies 15 to go, 1 ahead of Rai again.
Yeah.
And then 4 putts, 16 for a double bogey to fall 1 back of Aaron Rai. I mean, this is a roller coaster like you
Unbelievable.
wouldn't believe. Aaron Rai in the group ahead birdies the last and ends up having a 2-shot victory over Max Grayson, who couldn't birdie either of the last 2 holes.
Now, I know you kept your eye on this Matt Kuchar situation. Now, what is going on there? Because he's 100th on the FedEx Cup
Yeah.
list. He
So-
can't get in next week to the first
Correct.
tournament
Yeah.
of the FedEx Cup.
What he's done is on the final hole, the officials have said to him, look, we're going to blow the horn unless you want to finish. Now, his playing partner's finished.
Yeah.
And Matt's gone, no, I don't want to finish. I'll just come back in the morning. So his playing partners are Grayson, and I think it was Ramey as well. They've gone ahead and finished.
They've tapped in.
And Kuchar, he's not even into the FedEx Cup playoffs next week.
So-
He's going to finish 100 and something on the FedEx Cup points
So
list.
the whole lot of them have to come back the next day
The volunteers, you name it, the officials.
just to watch Matt
just
Kuchar.
to watch him play the last hole of a pretty ordinary final round.
It's very selfish behaviour, isn't it, for somebody who is not going to get in next week?
No. There's a bit of history with Matt Kuchar around that sort of stuff. Remember the caddy situation? And
Yeah, you should pay your caddy more than
yeah,
1%.
whatever it was,
Whatever it
$5,000 when you win $1 million.
It was 1%.
Was that what it was?
It was bad.
Gosh, yeah.
Is he a known arsehole, is he?
No, not an arsehole.
No, I've always gotten on well with Matt, but it's just some of the stuff he does, you just scratch your head. And this
Yeah.
is one of them.
Yeah.
Just finish the tournament. You can actually, watching on the television, you could still see. I know the TV makes it brighter than what
Yeah.
it actually is, but he's 7 shots out of the lead.
Middle of the fairway?
No, he's in the light rough.
Oh, well,
So, but
no big deal.
exactly.
In fact, if it's dark, I'd almost prefer to be in that light rough because the bottom of the ball is a little easier to understand where it is.
I know there's several, probably 100 people cursing him at the moment, thinking we have to
More.
come back in the morning. And there's not going to be any crowd. It's just going to be him
Yep.
making his bogey on the final hole.
Maybe he's not getting along with his wife and just didn't want to go home.
I don't know
Maybe
what it
that's
was.
the story. Maybe
Maybe.
the kids are driving him crazy.
You know who did have to make a Monday tee time? Was a guy, Luke Clanton, the amateur. He was going really well. It was only
Yeah.
1 or 2 shots behind at one stage, but he finished bogey to finish in, I think, a tie for 5th position. But the next day, he's got to tee it up at the US Amateur in
US
Minnesota.
Amateur starts this week.
Yeah,
Okay.
this week. But on his Monday tee time was at 2:30, which is our Tuesday early morning,
So
basically.
had to nick off quick.
He did.
Righto. That could have been 2 amateurs winning in one season. I think the last time that happened is 1940-something.
It's incredible. Anyway, unfortunately, none of the Aussies made the cut. Cam Davis, Sharon Badley both missed the cut. But
Was
Cam,
it 4 undercut?
it was a 3 or 4, something
Yes,
like
4.
that. Yeah,
It was 4, I checked.
Cam Davis, he will be in the first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs, along with who else? Jason Day and Adam Scott.
Minwoo?
Minwoo missed. He missed the cut, but I think he's in the playoffs.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think so,
correct.
yeah.
That's correct. Okay, on the Corn Ferry Tour in Omaha, Nebraska, Matt McCarty, the American, had a 1-shot win over Danny Walker for his 2nd win of the year, and he is number 1 on the money list, and he's guaranteed to go to the big show for next season. Carl Phillips had another good, solid performance, tied for 24th.
It's solid.
He's 13th on the money list. He's looking very, very good.
Solid.
To get a card after only 5 or 6 starts. We spoke about it last week on the pod.
That's exciting.
It is.
Thank goodness he ignored your advice, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. Thank goodness he
Very
did. But isn't that great? Because we know we're going to get a lot of girls, new
Yes.
faces on the LPGA Tour next year, which is brilliant. But it's nice also having a few guaranteed men popping up
Yeah, we need more
on the US Tour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
we
lot
need
on the
more.
Champions Tour at the moment, but not that many on the PGA
We
Tour.
need more.
Yeah, Brett Druitt was also in that event, tied for 29th. On the Challenge Tour, they had the Scottish Challenge and England's Brandon Robinson Thompson. It's an interesting name, isn't it? A long one. Brandon Robinson Thompson had an 8-shot win over Denmark's Hamish Brown. A couple of Aussies were playing. Hayden Hopewell tied for 25th and Elvis Smiley tied for 36th.
What were the odds that Brandon had a silver spoon in his back pocket growing up?
I'm surprised there's not a third after that name or something. Thompson the third. But anyway.
Jeez.
Gee, you're right in there. Ladies European Tour Access, they were playing the RSL Trophy.
What? Hang on.
We're just talking about silver
Hang on a
spoons.
second.
What are you talking
that's-
about?
What's that trophy called? Come on, Nick.
Nick,
I'm trying.
come on.
It's
Hold
the-
it together, kid.
It's a professional podcast here, Nick.
God, say it again.
Come on.
Come on.
Mate, you're the Ping Globe results guy. You've got to get this trophy name out.
You
You've
got
got to do
this
it.
stuff.
This is part of doing the pod.
Normally I'm pretty good, but this one's making me
You're
go.
12 years old all of a sudden.
No. Just when I actually wrote it down, I didn't think much of it. And then
Just
when I
say
said
what
it,
town it was in.
it's the RSL Trophy in Sweden. I'm just going to spell it out. AHSELL. Yeah, that makes sense. RSL. Okay. Anyway, Germany's Patricia Isabel Schmidt had a 2-shot win over Italian Alessia Nobilio. No relation to Frank Nobilio.
I wonder if she's got pirates in her background.
Perhaps Italian as well, yeah. Tied for 16th was New Zealand's Munchin Kay. Tied for 22nd, Kelsey Bennett. Tied for 35th, Steph Bunk. And tied for 44th was Crystal Blum.
We've heard Kelsey's name a bit lately. Kelsey Bennett.
Yes,
Good on
doing
her.
very well. Her and Steph Bunk have they're up there. They've got a bit of a chance to get on tour next year. Champions Tour, they had the Boeing Classic near Seattle, Washington. Stephen Ames, another win by him on the tour. 1 by 1 from Ernie Els, Steve Alker and Robert Carlson. Ames shot 500 in the final round, and Carlson had a 3 over par 75, I think it was. So
How tall's Robert
blew a bit of
Carlson?
a lead. About 6'5", 6'6".
See the tallest golfer ever to be any good? Or Andy Bean is there?
Andy Bean, Ernie Els,
Ernie
Nick
Els,
Faldo
Faldo.
had pretty handy careers.
No one over 6'6",
There's,
really?
there's a few. Not that I know
I reckon
of.
Carlson was about 6'6".
Yeah, I think he was.
I'll have a look.
Long
you
hitter.
continue.
Okay, best of the Australians was Richard Green tied for 8th along with Dave Branston. John Sendon and Stuart Appleby tied for 13th, and Rod Pampling and Michael Wright tied for 18th. Also on the weekend that just finished, the US Women's Amateur finished up, and this is an interesting one because 17-year-old Rhianne Maliksi had a 3-2 win over 15-year-old Asterix Talley in the US Women's Amateur. 3 weeks earlier, they played the US Girls Junior Amateur, both players in the final of that. So they've played the Girls Junior and the US Women's Amateur both times. And both times, Rhianne has got the better of Asterix. So I'll tell you what, a couple of young, one, Asterix is American and Rhianne is Philippine.
Robert Carlson, 6'5".
Yeah, no, sorry, not quite 6'6".
Not quite 6'6".
And that is our Ping Global results.
How tall's Aubert, by the way? He's pretty tall, isn't he?
Ooh.
I know he's 6'6", but he's not.
I'd say he's 6'4".
Yeah, I'm going to say 6'2".
Okay, I'll say 6'4".
Oh, yeah, look that up. Let's have a look.
I will look that up. Ludwig Aubert, 6'3".
Oh, okay. Well, still pretty tall, though.
He's big.
It's in there.
Would you like a little bit of feedback?
Yes, please.
Answer carefully.
Why are you looking at?
Yeah.
Well, because
well, he's looking at both of us.
you guys are going to get a whack
Oh, a good
from
one.
Brett in Perth.
Oh, that's
Little
probably
later
for
on.
me then. Okay.
A little later on.
The West
Okay, before we
Australian.
get to that, though, we'll get to that a little later on. First of all, Stuart's written in, gents, why is it so arduous for pros based overseas to travel to Australia? I presume they'd be flying maybe in a private jet or if not in first or business class. Surely that's not too hard to deal with in order to support the Australian tour.
Now, it's a very good question, but when you travel every single week in a plane, every single week, the dreaded trip that is 16 hours is a nightmare.
Yes, it is, but you're an Australian and you
Yes.
should come back and support your home tour. I did it every year.
Yes,
So I agree.
You're a
with-
good man.
I agree with Stuart. It would be great to get our players to come back every year. Look, most of them do. Cam come back, Minwoo, Adam Scott, and so on. We've had a couple who don't. as we know. But I think come back and support the tour that started you off.
Yes, but the flight is a nightmare.
It is a long way.
Yeah. I mean,
but hey, you're coming to visit family.
You couldn't be bothered flying anywhere much these days, could you? I mean,
Not anymore.
I dread it.
I hate going.
I hate it.
Places. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to go anywhere ever again.
Last week you were talking about colleges. You both talked about colleges and scholarships in colleges in the US. There was a lot of feedback online about it. We won't go through it all because there was heaps, but Ian Bradley did write and said, top 10% of colleges in the US are great and absolutely worth attending. The rest are not. Anyway, I think it's a very important issue with Golf Australia, how they encourage so many young Australian golfers to go to US colleges because it's not working.
Yeah. Look, he's wrong on a couple of things there. Golf Australia don't encourage people to go to college golf, so that was completely wrong. It was me encouraging people to go to golf. And he's right. 10% of the colleges are very, very good, well respected. But if you get a college degree, not that many people know the difference between Texas Tech and Texas State or whatever else, the good and the bad. I still say if you're a golfer and you get a scholarship and you have the chance to play some golf and get your plan B, no matter what college it's at in America, it's better than doing your time here in Australia and being left with $100,000 HECS fees and at the end.
Take that 16-hour flight and experience the world.
That's right. Get over there and live it out. So I disagree with everything Ian said.
Email from Jim. Hi, Nick and Mark. Love the pod. Hope you're both well. I was speaking to some American colleagues the other day and they were shocked to hear that I'd never played money games. I told them that I play in the daily comp and usually do Stableford points, and usually for Stableford points. They didn't really know how Stableford works, but they knew all about rabbit, skins, woof, etc.
Yes.
And it sounded like great fun.
I think the extent of it goes front nine, back nine, and every once in a while, if you're in a three, you get split sixes over here. That's about it. But in America, you stand on the first tee, you negotiate your handicap on the first tee.
Oh.
Half the fun is on the first tee. You're not a 7. They're not a 7. It just goes on and on and on and on. But you do get into it because if everyone's really invested in it, like the Americans are, playing hammer was always a favourite game. I told you this, I used to play a lot of practice rounds with David Duval on the Nike Tour, and he used to split me in half every week. He would take $2,000 out of my pocket every single week playing this stupid hammer game. It was a nightmare.
$2,000, jeez.
Every week. It was a nightmare.
Wow.
It was crazy. Anyway, you can get touched up. They all do play, but I think most of us in this country seem pretty happy with getting 37 points and getting the free lunch.
Yeah, winning a couple of balls.
Peter has said, Nick, what course are you doing your belly wedge lesson video at?
That was at Long Island, part of the National.
How's it looking?
It's looking, well, I had a look across to the holes that they're doing at the moment. There's only 9 holes open because OCM are doing a big renovation. And from what I can see, there's a lot of sand everywhere, a lot of reshaping going on. It actually looks very impressive.
Yeah.
So
they don't miss
time
OCM.
will tell. They're full steam ahead out there at the moment.
In fact, I give them my full endorsement. If you are not hiring OCM to do your golf course, you should sack the committee. Simple as that.
Wow.
If you're using anybody else.
Thankfully, my brother at Mount Lawley hired him, so we don't have to sack him.
Well, that's right. That's good. They're the best. But if you're using anybody else because everyone else is using OCM, you've made a mistake.
We talked about the Olympics earlier in the pod, and there's been a lot of feedback on the conversation last week about the Olympics. We did a poll as well. The poll was, should golf be an Olympic sport? And the pod Wolfpack were divided.
Ooh.
Yes, 56%.
Oh, that's not a good yes.
No, 44%.
Yeah, okay.
So it's pretty even, really.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's pretty even.
I wonder what they'd say if it was an amateur golf.
Well, funny you should say that.
Okay.
A couple of interesting comments here. First of all, this is from Joe. Now, Joe's our greenkeeper mate from Awatoto in Napier, New Zealand.
Oh,
Joe,
yes.
Yeah, Joe said, I love golf for the Olympics. Ko now has 3 gold medals. Aussies still have 0. Sorry, a small whack there. How awesome was Lydia's win, though?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
and
it's very, very good.
to complete silver, bronze, you're only hunting for gold after that.
Ridiculous.
Exactly right. Tom Henry said, should have separate individual and team events. Individual should be stroke play and team events match play.
Well, I like the match play
I like
side
match
of
play.
things.
Yeah.
I think that could be interesting.
As long as it's round robin. at the start.
Nah, one and done. You're out.
Stephen has an idea. Stephen said, if they keep it in the Olympics, I think they should change it to a Ryder Cup style format. We can send 2 golfers and they compete as a team.
Jeez, big Ryder Cup.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
Huge. Would go on forever.
It could take a while.
Russell said, Marco, a thought that I've had for 12 years now. Best pro male, best amateur male, best pro female, best amateur female, 4 rounds, 4-ball foursomes, mixed 4-ball, singles, best team wins.
Oh, I'd prefer that probably.
I said there could be a lot of formats.
Yeah, that's a big format. But if it's just the pros going around again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch the Kieran at the Velodrome.
Yeah, and Damien Ratcliffe, one of your mates, Marco, written in and said, I reckon it should be there, but only as a team mixed event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Righto. Yeah.
Now, Brett from Perth.
Okay.
Brett has said, love the podcast, guys. I never miss it. However, I was disappointed to hear you guys crapping on the Olympic golf. That last round of the men's was some of the most engaging golf I've watched this year. Absolutely fantastic and drama-filled and exciting round finish to watch. The fact that you are so critical when none of you even watched the full game is beyond me. Get on board, fellas, and stop being snobs.
Oh, so it's a whack at both of us. I actually thought I quite liked the golf.
Yeah, you spoke about it. 29 on the back.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, Scotty, one thing I did miss because I didn't actually watch it, and the problem was I couldn't find a replay of it anywhere, and I was trying to look for individual scores, couldn't find those anywhere of hole by hole. Yeah. Rahm was like 20 under at one stage and all of a sudden came home in an ambulance.
Had a bad back 9. Look, I think because the three of us, we love the Olympics. We all have. I think I can speak for all of us here, but it's just the only exception we took to it is I feel like it's other sports' time to shine. That's all.
Yeah.
Golf will shine next week and the week after and the week after and the week after.
And Brett did finish his email by saying, this won't stop me listening, of course. Keep up the great work. Regards, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
So he's a good bloke.
Yeah, it's good feedback. Thank you.
Now, this comment here, I'm going to put in, and this it's a weird one. Normally, we probably wouldn't do this sort of stuff, but I want to put it in here almost as a learning moment. Not for us, but for this bloke who's wrote it. This is from Dennis. There's no better advertisement for the women's game being the inferior product than the Olympics and the Australian Open. It's lunacy that a clearly inferior product gets the same remuneration as the men. That's his view.
Yeah, righto.
And I don't agree.
No, I think we've got to make the world go round a bit.
How is he saying it's an inferior product?
Look, I think when you look at the two cuts, the ladies' cut's quite a long way over par.
Right, okay.
And the men's cut's quite often under par or even par.
I prefer watching the women. That's the thing because it's more relatable to me.
Yes.
These days, for sure.
The women's professional product today versus what it was 25 years ago, it's it's upside down from where it was. I mean, it has improved out of sight. The girls are great. They play great golf. They do amazing things under pressure, particularly at the pro level. I think it's headed in the right direction, and that is undeniable.
Yep.
In fact, I can't imagine it getting that much better at the highest level, to tell you the truth.
Oh, they're extraordinary.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah. Final comment here. This is from Daniel, and he's talking about the pod last week with Frank and Aidan, the Watch My Numbers bonus pod. Hey, guys, I really enjoyed this. Any chance that Mark and Nikki might pick, say, 4 people to have a chat through their numbers and where they could improve just like you did with Aidan, and maybe check back in a month to see how they've gone?
See, we've got a little side hustle here. You and I could become the stats guys. And we could look at amateur stats and explain to them
where they need to improve,
where they can improve, where they can attack the golf course, because that's what it's all about, knowing where to attack. I think we can do it.
Okay.
I think we should charge $500 an hour and we'll be right.
Oh, dear.
That's the feedback, guys. Time for the masterclass. Thanks to Watch My Numbers, which is the most powerful database golf app in the world.
Golf has many ways of measuring ability and performance. But at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. And that's where Watch My Numbers can really help. Well, one of the reasons Lydia Ko is a superstar is because she is a superstar putter. I noticed this a long time ago, and I actually didn't see her hit one shot at the Olympics. So excuse me, this is a masterclass on what Lydia was doing 8-9 years ago when she was 17 or 18 years old. She would have the practice strokes behind the ball, like Aaron Baddeley has made famous, who, by the way, is the number one putter on the US Tour to this day.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He has more one-putts on the US Tour than any other player to this day, Aaron Baddeley. I just looked that up before. But Lydia Ko, she was so rock solid, so simple, so effortless on the putting green. But what I liked about it is that she made a wide stance look comfortable. Quite often wide stances look terrible. But when she had her practice swings looking down the line like Aaron Baddeley does, she would then get in and she would have a narrow stance, put the putter down behind the ball. Once she was happy with where the putter was sitting, then she would put her feet down in a wide stance. And then she would have one more look and she would pull the trigger. And she did this every single time. And like I said, quite often the wide stance looks clumsy, looks like you're trying too hard. But when you do it like that, it really works. I've been doing it ever since. I've been doing it for 8 years, and I'm happily say I'm averaging under 30 putts to this day.
Great for stability as well, because it takes the lower half out of it, and it's also really good in the wind because you want that extra stability, especially when it's blowing around.
That is right. And the funny thing is, when you just go in and have a wide stance from the start, it never feels right. But when you put the putter down first, and if you wanted to go, you want to blend in a little Cameron Smith as well, have the left hand on
the thigh,
while you're lining up the putter face, then put the wide stance down parallel, or if you're a little bit open to the putter line. It doesn't bother me. It's a great way of putting. It really is.
Guys, before we go, message from Mark in Grafton here about a charity day that I think is worth a bit of a mention. I've been organising a charity golf day, 6-person Ambrose at Grafton Golf Club for 20 years on behalf of West Lawn Finance and Insurance. Last year, we raised nearly 20 grand for Our Kids, a local charity that purchases hospital gear for the children's wards in the local hospitals.
That's a mighty effort, raising $20,000.
So brilliant.
So good. This year, the golf day is on August the 30th. It's a 4-person Ambrose with golfers and non-golfers welcome. $400 a team. That gets you the golf, get your drinks, get your barbecue lunch, and it's all tax deductible.
Wow.
So
$100 a head.
Yeah. So we'll put the links.
Grafton Golf Club. All right.
We'll put the links in show notes. You can go and register there. It's a great cause. And, when it goes to kids, you can't argue, can you?
No.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Matt Kuchar. I hope it's a thunderstorm tomorrow morning. He has to wait around another day.
Oh, no.
I hope it is.
Wow.
It'd be fantastic.
Well, they had Tropical Storm Debbie come in and delayed the first round, so maybe you can turn around and come back.
Imagine if they had like 3 days of storms and they had to DQ him and he lost his, $150,000 for finishing 12th.
Brilliant.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Oh, that would make me laugh.
Hey, before we go, what was that trophy called again, Nick?
Oh, the RSL Trophy.
Yeah. Look at you.
Part of the RSL Nordic Tour.
Look at him light up like a little kid.
No.
See you next week.
All right.
And thanks for listening to Talk Birdie, Timmy. We appreciate you listening and getting involved. And a huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Without them, the show just wouldn't be the same. Watch my numbers. Download the app and turn your bogeys into birdies by analysing and improving your game like never before. The Golf Clearance Outlet. Awesome prices on great gear. You can see them in Melbourne, Sydney, Brizzy, Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. And Ping. See your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping Club fitting. They'll help you play your best. If Ping's good enough for Nick O'Hearn, well, that says it all. And we'd love you to get involved with the show. You can leave a voicemail with any comments or questions at talkbirdietome.com.au or send an email or comment on the socials. And if you can share the pod with a friend, well, we'd love that. Talk Birdie Tome's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.
Hey guys, one of my dreams when I was living in the US was to throw the first pitch. You know how players from other sports come into the baseball?
There's no way you did that.
I did.
Don't.
Oh, you know where I did it?
Where?
Greensboro.
You're kidding me.
Now, there's no major league team in Greensboro, obviously, but they have a local league. It's like a single A or double A, whatever. I can't even remember what they call it.
Did you throw a strike?
Of course, of course. But I got the announcement. I had to warm up the arm after, beforehand. Came out through the tunnel.
Did they put the speed gun on you?
Yeah, no. It would have been at least 91 kilometres an hour. But the worst thing, they wouldn't let me do it from the mound. I had to stand in front of the mound.
Wouldn't they let you do it from the mound?
I don't know. They wanted to save it for the pitcher.
Please.
Yeah. But anyway, I got to throw it at first pitch.
Nice.
How good
Something
are you?
cool.